This is my surfacer and buffer. It does pre-polish for slabs and just other pieces of rock I want to polish out, halves or whatever else. Left the grinding attachment on it for doing grinding if I want to do any detail work to rocks. You know, various heads for grinding. Maybe if I wanted to grind a shape into the back of a rock or into the back of a cabochon and have it stick or show through, kind of 3D effect. Some little like larger grinding bits as well. They're all diamond tip. So use them with water and cut rock pretty good. And this pretty much is just a Harbor Freight Tools variable speed mini grinder with attachment, and I just took the other side off and I purchased a little rock grinding wheel set. Has a Velcro head, so I bolted that on instead. I melted in some little rings in there, washers, and bolted that in place, so that works pretty good. If you really want to get it going, you can, but there's no need to for polishing rocks. The backs are just Velcro. Says what it is. You can barely read it, but this says it's 80 grit. And you just Velcro them on. I usually like to dip it in the water first. Velcro them on. You can spin it and kind of play around with it until you get it fine-tuned where you want it. Kind of press it on there and check it out. If you got it on good enough, then you just get going. If you don't like it, you can always just unvelcro it and stick it back on. But you just kind of take the slabs and go through the various grits until they're polished to what your preferences are. These are the other grits of polishing pads. It goes down from 100, 200. What do we got here? 400. I believe this was 600 or 800 actually. 1500 and 3000. And they pretty much look basically the same. So I like to kind of keep them in order as the backs wear and you can't read what they say anymore. The fronts look a lot alike. So I got two hooks. As I use them, I just transfer them back and forth. Yeah, so I made this stand again. Like I said, I made this with a Harbor Freight tool mini grinder. It's about $35. I bought the little Velcro heads and Velcro pad attachment head for a little less than 20 on Amazon, I believe. And then I got the stand also from Harbor Freight Tools, and I think I paid around $40 for the stand. It had a little piece on the side I just cut off so it does what I need. And I just used a couple of brackets that I bent out of metal on either side. Drilled holes and bolted it on so I have a little wedge on each side. And then I just bent out some metal and riveted it in place, including making a holster. And the little grinders only come with one bolt hole. I don't know, Harbor Freight Tools, could you please put more than one bolt on your things you're supposed to bolt down next time? Thank you. Maybe a little lip or a fatter lip out here would be great, somewhere to put a hole. But I put two clamps on it just to hold it down, And it does get a little vibraty because this isn't exactly centered, but I did the best I can. So I added a strap to it just to keep it in place. Yeah, after you buff out or polish out your rocks, you can use some of these little pads that I made, which basically is just a chunk of leather out of an old welding apron that was way too long, and I just stapled it on a little chunk of wood. And you can polish your rocks on it, you know, back and forth, and once they're polished out and smoothed out, it'll help polish it out. You could put a little bit of cerium oxide or aluminum oxide or whatever else they use, depending on what stones you're doing. If you wanted to add a little with some water, I don't know about on the leather so much, but you could, I'm sure you could do it. And then these ones are just like jean material, pair of old jeans wrapped around a chunk of wood, stapled in place. They work great for agate and jasper, just rubbing them until they're shiny. And I just had a couple pieces of wood, so I went and made a few different sizes, a nice big one. But yeah, I'll run through a few of these pads and show you what these 4 slabs look like when I'm done. This is dry, so they're not that shiny. They're smooth, but they're not that smooth. And I pretty much just use the Ryobi tile saw, my little tile saw booth, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos of. I just cut slabs in there to whatever dimensions I want. These being some of the slabs, some agate, some other agate I don't know, jasper, and I honestly don't know. I think it's a mix of jasper and agate. But those are some of the slabs. I cut lots of slabs. I'm just going to do those 4, as I said, for the next little video. These are some of the little pieces I've pre-cut. I'm going to surface these and then shape them into little cabs and various other little stones and polish them out. But yeah, I just cut those as well. Yeah, I would say I built this for approximately $100, give or take a little, depending on if you have a few extra things around. You might be into it more like $120 if you didn't have the little clamps and the extra metal or the rivet and rivet gun. You might go like 120. Now, you know, then you also, if you want little grinding bits and stuff, you have to pay a little more for those. But just for the stand and the little grinder, the way I did it, and I riveted this in place with just some rivets and cut back the old shielding, which used to look just like this. Just cut it in half and removed it back. It didn't have the shield on it. And just pulled all that off there and bolted that Velcro pad in place. But yeah, other than doing a few little modifications and a few little bits and parts I had around the garage already, you know, like I said, maybe $100, $120. If you're thrifty, maybe even cheaper. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, and then I'll do these stones over here next, and I'll show you what it can do. Thank you.